This is a great day. Anytime the governor comes to your city, it's a great day. And Governor Shapiro has done a lot for our community and a lot for our Commonwealth. But mostly it's his drive to help small businesses. So we visited a couple of small businesses today, and I want to thank Governor Shapiro for coming to Easton and seeing us. Also like to introduce a couple of people that are here. Senator Lisa Boscola, Representative Bob Freeman. I'd also like to invest Northampton County Executive Lamont McClure. Thanks, and our city council members, Dr. Ruggles is in the back, and then Crystal Rose, Frank Pinnabone, and of course our city administrator, Louis Campos. So, you know, our Main Street program, which the governor was here to personally witness, and what I like about this governor, he gets out into the communities and really delves himself into, when he talked to the small businesses that we visited today, he really asked them good questions, and I really like that. Our Main Street program has caused a renaissance in our downtown, and everybody knows that, and has won numerous awards, but the award that is most important is that we have successful small businesses. I remember before I was mayor in the early 2000s, businesses would open and close 6 months later. That was unfortunate. Restaurants opened and closed, but it was Mick who really started with River Grill as the first of many that he now owns, but River Grill was very important. The governor recognizes that small businesses and Main Streets help not only the programs that he provides, but also helps revitalize his community and gives back to the economy. Local, as I always say, local money spent with local representatives really puts money back into the local economy, not Arkansas or someplace else. Good. Our residents want Easton to have more economic development, and we need to stop the brain drain from people who leave. So we do things to make Easton more vibrant. We have festivals. Nick is known that his festival, his favorite festival is Bacon Fest, where he only sells 6,000 bacon burgers a year. 6,000. Beckham, thank you. But Governor Shapiro brings to the state a leadership that talks about empowerment. And he really does empower local officials like myself to do better because he wants the Commonwealth to do better. And last year he came out with the economic development strategy, which we've never had. So we really appreciate his efforts in economic development, because economic development is what has allowed Easton to maintain our property taxes for 17 years. 17 years without a property tax. So that's really important. I applaud the vision of programs like Main Street Matters and Pennsylvania Sites plan for economic development that the governor will discuss today, I'm sure, but I'm especially supportive of the fact that we are called to work together to improve the economic standing of our community. We in Easton are committed to playing our role in helping the economy of the Commonwealth prosper. We don't want to lose people to the southeastern part of the country. We want people to stay here and invest here, and we need to do that to maintain property taxes. Real estate taxes are really important, but also your earned income tax and everything else. You have to grow your economy. If you don't grow, Municipal Government 101, you either grow your economy or you raise taxes. One or the other. Your taxes are going to go up every year if you don't grow your economy. So I want to thank, and I also have to look at Fadia. Fadia has been very helpful, and Joe Kelly, I saw Joe Kelly somewhere. Joe Kelly, thank you, Joe. Joe, they've been very helpful, along with the senator and the representative, in a partnership. We have a partnership with the state of Pennsylvania. I really believe that these people, I get a lot of the credit, and I really tell people all the time, if it wasn't for the state's commitment to small cities and municipalities across the Commonwealth, we would be nothing. We would be back in 2008 where our crime rate was going up, the gangs such as the Latin Kings, the Crips, and the Bloods were here and doing all kinds of harm in our streets. People were afraid to walk down the street. They're not afraid anymore because downtown Easton is safe and clean, which we really need. And without the people at this podium, the governor and the senator and the representative, we wouldn't have that. And I got to tell you, I say this all the time, and people who heard me speak know that I really give credit to the state, because the state commitment to communities is really strong. And I thank the governor. I see John Kingsley out there as our economic development director. And, oh, Ken Brown. I didn't see you, Ken. Oh, you snuck in? Okay. Councilmember Ken Brown is also here. I want to thank everybody for coming, and it's my pleasure now to introduce Andrea.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea is one of our small business people. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Rincon, and I'm the proud owner of Casa 401 in Queso Arcasa, which is located right here in downtown Easton. So I was born and raised in Colombia, and I've been calling the United States home for the past 20 years, 15 of those here in Easton. Casa 401 is more than just a store, it's a concept. It's a space that celebrates the creativity of over 30 independent designers and makers from Colombia. We offer a curated selection of unique products, including clothing, accessories, foldable fans, wooden utensils, animal cups, handcrafted jewelry, and so much more. Within the same space is Queso Arcasa, a crepe and raclette shop where we proudly melt Gouda cheese right straight from the wheel, scraping it over baguettes, potatoes, or toast for an unforgettable experience. While these two spaces may offer different products and services, they are united by one core mission, which is to provide unique, high quality, and sustainable shopping and dining experiences, just like you would at home, at casa. As a Latina entrepreneur in Easton, I've felt nothing but support from this welcoming and inclusive community in the past years. The real challenge isn't what I sell, but why I sell it. To share the stories of dedication, passion, and craftsmanship behind every piece. And in today's era of online shopping, my goal is to foster meaningful connections between people and the makers behind the products I sell. So when you shop small, you're not just making a purchase. You may be helping a single mother, an artist, or a freelance photographer to continue to build their dreams. Every item in my shop is a testament to the power of hard work, creativity, and resilience. Every sale brings joy, not just for me, but to the artisans and makers whose work inspires it. Thank you so much for your time, and now I'm honored to introduce Governor Shapiro.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. Thanks, Andrea. And Casa 401 is a cool place. Queso Casa is cool. I got another cup of coffee. I'm working on 5 cups of coffee and one sugar cookie from Sweet Girls today. So I got to get a meal at some point here today. But I just want to say it is awesome to be here in Easton. This is a great community, a great downtown, a wonderful Main Street, and you got a great leader in Mayor Panto who is making sure that the vision you started out with nearly 2 decades ago when you asked the good people of Easton to help you help them, that vision is coming through. It is happening here, and great things are happening on the streets of Easton, and you're also a great example to the rest of the Commonwealth that this is how you do it when it comes to economic development, when it comes to investing in main streets and small business. You know, the mayor was at the governor's residence yesterday with the councilman, and they brought me a Christmas ornament of downtown Easton, and we hung it up on the Christmas tree in the governor's residence. So now, actually, literally every time my family and I go up the steps to where we live on the 2nd floor of the residence, we walk by a little piece of Easton. So you're always on our mind, and we're grateful to the mayor for his leadership. But I think it's also important to know, while I'm thankful that the mayor gave the Commonwealth credit, the reality is what I see when I see economic development happening successfully around the Commonwealth, it's because folks understand it is a team sport, that you've got to have wonderful people like Mick and our other small business owners. Although, Mick, you're not very small anymore. You got a lot. You got to have the private sector lined up wanting to invest in a community. You've got to have local government like the mayor and the council with that vision, that plan. And let me tell you something. You got to have some real power in Harrisburg in order to bring home the bacon. You see what I did there? You like that? I'm a Jewish guy saying the word bacon too, so that's a big thing. That's right. But you've got to have powerful folks in Harrisburg bringing the resources home, and everybody's got to be rowing in the same direction. And so I want to give a special shout out to Senator Lisa Boscola and Representative Bob Freeman. Both are senior members of their delegation. They're chairmen and women representing important committees. And while they're important in Harrisburg, they never forget where they come from. And they're always making sure to twist my arm to bring something home to their community. And I appreciate the partnership that we have. And as a result of that partnership, I believe not only is Easton on the rise, Pennsylvania is on the rise. I am privileged to serve as the 48th governor of this great Commonwealth and to travel all across Pennsylvania nearly every single day. I get to go to rural, urban, suburban communities, and I'll tell you what, these areas look really, really different. Sometimes the folks living there look different. But I'm actually inspired by the fact that as I listen to people all across Pennsylvania, they all basically want the same few things, right? They want a really good school for their kids and grandkids. They want safe streets to walk down, right? They want to make sure that there's economic opportunity in the community that they love. And when you dig a little bit deeper, even though the terrain looks really different, there is one thing every community has in common, and that's a main street. Now, sometimes the main streets are lined with one-story businesses. Sometimes in our cities like Philly or Pittsburgh, they're lined with multi-story large buildings. The main streets can look a little bit different, but they are the beating heart of a community. You have a successful main street, you've got a successful community. And so that is why I believe investing in main streets is so incredibly important. In fact, in my last budget that was supported by the folks who were here, we launched something called Main Street Matters, where we literally now have directed funding at the state level to invest in our main streets. Sometimes it could be the facade of a small business to get that up and running. Sometimes it could be sidewalks and lighting, or maybe a stormwater project, whatever the case may be. What we try to do is not come into a main street or come into a community and say, this is what you must do, but instead work with great local leaders and your downtown leaders to be able to say, what do you need and how can we help you? I used to work in local government. I was a county commissioner. I don't want the state coming in here and telling me what to do. I want the state to be a partner, like the mayor said. And that's exactly what we're doing. And that's why main streets matter and why we have the dollars to back that up. In fact, the mayor mentioned before that we now have, under my watch, for the first time in 20 years, an economic development strategy for the Commonwealth, where we focus on a few key sectors of our economy to really help them grow. And we also focus on investing in our main streets and our downtowns because we think that's really, really critical. Now, every business owner here, Andrea and everyone else, they will tell you the same thing. Their business is only as successful as the customers who come in, who eat a steak, who buy a cookie, or who get some cheese or some of that really great lotion and ointment earlier today. We need to make sure that the folks in Easton, the folks who come to visit these communities, that they got money in their pocket to be able to spend when they shop small or when they dine at one of these amazing restaurants. So in addition to us making these critical investments, I want you to know we've worked hard to cut taxes 6 times on my watch as your governor. 6 different tax cuts to be able to put more money in people's pockets. For 20 years, seniors cried out for a tax cut to help them not only stay in their homes, but be able to afford to live and be able to get out and shop. And after 20 years of talking about it, we came together and passed the largest targeted tax cut for seniors in 2 decades. We doubled the number of seniors who qualify for relief, and we nearly doubled the amount of money going back in their pockets. We also heard loud and clear from families who wanted to come to dinner, right, Nick? But you know what? Their child care expenses were through the roof. And so they had to make cutbacks. And so we tripled our child care tax credit to help families be able to afford the things that they want. Cutting taxes for seniors, cutting taxes for families. We've also cut taxes for small businesses, allowing them to write off more of their losses from the year before in order to sustain the growth of a business, right? Casa 401, you said you've been at this about 1.5 years, right? Sweet Girls is celebrating 13 years tomorrow, right? And Mick, you've been at this forever. We got to make sure that we let our businesses get up and running, and part of that is being able to write off losses from the year before. We've also cut the corporate net income tax twice on my watch, not once, but twice, putting more money back in the pockets of businesses to invest in their employees. And we've given businesses the ability to invest more in helping their employees afford childcare and other things by giving them a write-off when they make those investments. Why am I telling you all this? Because we understand that the vibrancy of our Commonwealth rolls right through these main streets. So we got to come at this both ways. Invest in the main streets and invest in the people that shop on our main streets by cutting their taxes. Now I'll close with this. I know right now there's a lot of deep cynicism in our politics and a lot of polarization. I know we got Democrats and Republicans here. I'm not attempting to be political. I'm here to state a fact. Pennsylvania is in many ways a microcosm of that. We're the only state in the nation with a divided legislature. Senate led by Republicans, House led by Democrats. So for me to get anything done, I literally need the votes of Republicans and Democrats. Republicans and Democrats came together to invest in our main streets, to cut taxes, and to do much more. And so I share that with you because I believe, for as cynical as some people can be in our politics, when we do work together, when we put points on the board, move the ball down the field, we should celebrate that, and we should be proud of that. And you've got 2 elected leaders here in your General Assembly who have helped me move the ball down the field to, as I like to say every day, get stuff done. And so it is important that we celebrate that, and it's important that we appreciate that. And I'm here to tell you how much I appreciate Representative Freeman, Senator Boscola, and the great leadership here in Easton. This is an awesome place. By the way, Mick, this is date night for me and Lori. We're going to come back and enjoy a great meal. You're going to hold us to that, and then we'll get a sugar high at Sweet Girls afterwards. We'll get dessert there. But I want to bring up 2 of my partners who have worked with me to accomplish all these things that I just spelled out here. First, I want you to hear from Representative Bob Freeman, and then from Senator Lisa Boscola. Thank you all very much. All right.
Governor, thank you for coming to our hometown here of Easton. Give us a chance to show off our great success story here, due in large part to the fine efforts of our Mayor Sal Panto, and all the work that our local officials have done as well to make this a success story. I just wanted to say that Governor Shapiro's Main Street Matters initiative makes a significant $20 million investment in small businesses of our Main Street communities and builds upon the success of the existing Main Street and Elm Street programs. As the author of the Elm Street program, I am pleased that the governor is committed to supporting our main streets and our neighborhoods, and I am particularly pleased that he has come to Easton to highlight those commitments and also to showcase Easton's Main Street program and some of our wonderful local businesses. The governor continues to promote everyday Pennsylvanians' needs by supporting local businesses through the Main Street Matters program, getting money back to senior citizens through the expansion of the property tax rent rebate program, and offering an array of tax credits to assist families and businesses, which helps put money back in the pockets of our people here in Pennsylvania. So I'm very pleased to welcome the governor here. Hope you come back many times more.
Sure.
We'll love to have you back here and to keep showing off the great success story, which is Easton, Pennsylvania. That's right, yeah. Maybe a progressive dinner as you work your way through all our restaurants. With that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, our State Senator, Lisa Boscola.
Thanks, Bob. It is really awesome to be here, I'm telling you. And I've been through a bunch of governors. I've been in office 30 years. And this governor really does get stuff done. He really, really does. Yeah. That
Senators
thing,
don't
see those
talk like
cameras
that.
over there? Anyway, from keeping our current businesses in and growing our new businesses, that's what this is all about. Maintaining our businesses, growing new ones. Economic development that we have means growth and jobs, and that's what's important to Pennsylvania. Investing in our small businesses, the restaurants, the retail shops, the coffee shops, that makes our downtowns great and just as important as courting a new business is, right? So these businesses are real difference makers in our communities. They are the backbone of what makes every place in Pennsylvania unique and different. And every community in Pennsylvania has a main street, like the governor alluded to. And that's a place where people come together to shop, to dine, to hang out, and build relationships, bring families down. And that's the heart and soul of our community. I was going to say a little bit more, but I have to tell you, there is no governor that has ever given me a present. He did today at CASA. There's a case of a dried orange and has ointment in it. And he was buying it, and I'm like, oh, how sweet, he's buying that. And then he goes, Senator Boscola here, and I'm like, oh my God, I got an early Christmas present from the governor. So I would like to say, Governor Shapiro's in town. Governor Shapiro's in town. Governor Shapiro's in Easton, our town.
I love it. Are you going to sing?
Not yet. Hi, everyone. I'm Julie. I am the Main Street manager here in Easton. Our small business owners in Easton are so much more than entrepreneurs. They are community builders. They are the reason that downtown has become the core of our community and a place for people to gather. We are blessed to have great assets like the riverfront and proximity to major cities and our cool history, but what really sets us apart is the connections and relationships, meaningful relationships that we have downtown, and that is done through collaborating and working closely with volunteers and small business owners, and also working closely with state programs that really believe in the unique character of small towns in America. When you walk around downtown, you can see the intentional thought and care that stretches into every corner, and you see a mixture of longstanding businesses and new entrepreneurs, and that's not by accident. The Main Street program aims to create an atmosphere where every entrepreneur can thrive and an ecosystem where businesses are supporting each other. I'm grateful that every business downtown really understands the idea that when everyone is successful and downtown is doing good, they are doing good. And so they really have each other's backs and they want to see each other thrive. And that happens through even small things like sidewalk sale day. It's a simple concept, but it's this idea that you're part of a collective thing and you're creating an experience downtown. And you can feel that. And it's become a family of business owners and a sense of ownership of Easton. Recently we launched a survey where we asked people what they want to see downtown, and we got over 750 responses in just a few weeks, and that just shows who we are in Easton. We want to hear from every resident and every business owner. We want their ideas, and thanks to support from the state and Governor Shapiro and the Main Street Matters program and funding from Keystone Communities program, we were able to have the tools to turn those conversations into real improvements. And equally crucial is our partnership with the City of Easton and our sister programs at the Greater Easton Development Partnership, who are always sharing resources and are true advocates for the Main Street method and the Main Street way, that grassroots approach. So, it's great to see these conversations turning into real change. And so on behalf of GDP and the Easton Main Street Initiative, I'm so thankful to have so many partners who see our potential, in particular the Commonwealth and the Main Street Matters program. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. And with that, I'll take a few questions from the media if you have, and we'll wrap up. Go ahead.
Thank you for updating us on what you have done.
Just speak up. So.
I'll try. Can you hear me now? And thank you for what you've given us so far in terms of programs. What do you hope to accomplish next year going forward? What do you think are the biggest obstacles to getting those things done?
Well, we want to continue to drive these dollars out to Main Streets. It has enjoyed bipartisan support. I think one of the things you learned with me as your governor, I don't like things to happen tomorrow when they can happen today. We speed things up. We've sped up our permitting process. We've sped up our grant making. So I want to continue to move quickly, get the dollars out. I want more communities to be inspired by what's happening here in Easton in their neighborhoods and be able to use that as a way to develop those other communities. So more resources, get them out quickly, and support the kind of big vision that folks here in Easton have and others across the Commonwealth share. Anybody else?
Are you able to share your...
I just can't hear you over the fan. Just speak up.
Off topic, love highlighting Easton, but one off topic, any thoughts on the looming government shutdown?
Well, look, I mean, I've been saying for months that I was worried about bringing a chaos agent to Washington, D.C. and the impact that that was going to have on our country. You're beginning now to see that chaos. There was apparently a bipartisan deal to pass their budget in Washington, and then the president-elect decided he didn't like it and told folks to vote against it. I really can't control what happens in D.C. I can control what happens here, and I can tell you that we are on sound fiscal footing here in Pennsylvania. We are cutting taxes, not raising them. We have a rainy day fund, a reserve fund. We have responsible budgeting, and we've got bipartisan consensus around our budgeting processes. So I'm going to continue to do this work to invest in Pennsylvanians, and hopefully the chaos in Washington doesn't negatively impact us here. I would hope that every member of our delegation, our congressional delegation in Washington, understands that it is important to focus less on social media and posting and more on actually voting for progress for Pennsylvania and progress for this country. And so that is my hope for them, but I can't control what they do. I can only control what I can control, and we're moving in the right direction here in Pennsylvania.
You were here in the Lehigh Valley almost a year ago to debut your economic development strategy.
Yeah, I've been back many times since then.
Yes,
yeah.
And could you sort of, looking over the past year, how has that borne fruit? How are we able to see the impact of that strategy?
Look, it is our absolute focus to invest in those areas laid out in our economic development strategy. First, to make sure that it guides us. Second, to make sure that it guides the investments that come from the Commonwealth, whether it's a tax credit, a grant, you name it. And now we're beginning to see the results of that. The year before I was elected your governor, we had a little less than $1 billion in private capital investment spurred by the Commonwealth's action. My first year in office, we had $1 billion in private capital investment. This past year, or this year that we're going to close, we're going to be north of $3 billion in private capital investment. Why do I share that with you? Because we want to know that when we're investing a dollar of taxpayers' hard-earned money, that we're spurring on private sector investment, because that's what's going to lead to real growth and opportunity on our main streets, in our suburban office parks, and in our downtowns. So we are using that plan as a guide for investment, as a guide to stay focused, and as a guide for driving private sector investment. It is working. We're proud of it. And we'll be able to continue to show the results of our hard work. I believe we'll see it continue to grow over the coming years. I think we're poised to just really take off and explode from an economic development perspective here in Pennsylvania. I'm feeling really, really bullish. Anything else? Yeah.
I wondered if I could ask either Mr. Rincon or any of the small business people here their thoughts about what the state and the local has provided them in assistance, and is there anything they would wish for that they could also get?
You want to answer that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andre.
Thank you. I would say one of the first things that comes to mind is when I first opened business, I got a grant for signage, which was kind of a big deal. I didn't realize signage was so expensive, especially if you want it to be done right. And thankfully, at that time, through GDP, I was able to get a grant to get, I think it was 50% of the grant paid for. So that was one of the main things that I would say. Mm-hmm.
Anything you would like more?
That I would like more? That's a good question. I think the biggest struggle sometimes is letting local people know I'm here. I get a lot of people from out of town who are in Easton who visit the shop, but I think sometimes it's just difficult to get locals to shop downtown. And just like I said before, especially because I'm both food and retail, but the retail part of the business, it's difficult because of online shopping. People can stay home and shop from their phones. So sometimes trying to get the word out and let people know that they can come out and buy from a small business owner is meaningful. Thank you.
Let me add two things. I think it goes back to the question you asked before about our economic development strategy. One is when I was in Andrea's, the Queso 401, I was thinking about how we need to do a better job, this is overall, on connecting our farmers in Pennsylvania with small business owners that are selling wonderful foods like the fresh cheese and other things that you are at Queso 401. And in fact, in our economic development strategy, for the first time ever, agribusiness is now one of our 5 pillars of economic opportunity. When I talk to farmers, they're dying to be connected with our small businesses. We have to do a better job of that. Not that it's bad now, we just want to do more of that and make those connections. That's one thing I wanted to mention. And then 2, you mentioned the sign. A lot of times when you've got a small business owner who's got this great idea and wants to get going, right, they are immediately stopped in their tracks because of a sign or a business license or something with the county health department, you name it. We have really pride ourselves on the fact that we have sped up government when it comes to our small businesses. The day I was sworn in as your governor, it took 8 weeks to get a business license, right? Which everybody needs. Big business, small business, 8 weeks. Today it takes just 2 days. You got a barber shop, I know, here on Main Street. It took 12 weeks to get a barber's license. Now you get it same day. And that's just 2 examples out of over 2,400 licenses, permits, applications that we issue. We're speeding up government because when we've got a small business owner with a big idea, we want them to get going. We want them to get started, and we don't want government to slow them down in any way. Anything else? Okay, one last one.
So what have you learned, or what can other communities learn from Main Street programs and economic development here in downtown Easton?
Yeah, actually, I think the Eastons, the Bethlehems, the Phoenixvilles, New Hopes, I'm going to get in trouble now, Mount Lebanon out west, there's so many great ones. These are examples of, a mayor 20 years ago sort of laying out a vision, great state delegation, supporting that, local community buying in on it, and now you're seeing 2 decades later, beautiful main streets like this, right? And then you've got other main streets where, they're just getting started in that 2-decade-long process. Lancaster is another one. I was there just yesterday. I think Lancaster is a lot like what we have going on here in Easton. They're pretty far along in their efforts. I'd like to see more of the seasoned main streets kind of mentor the others along the way and help our Main Street, development directors be able to work in, with others and support them along the way. I think that's really important. There's a lot that Pennsylvanians can learn from what's happening here in Easton, and it's not just beautiful restaurants like this or wonderful, bakeries. It's about the whole vision and everyone working together. That attitude really, really matters, and that's something we got to teach other communities who are just beginning on their journey. All right, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, or even if you don't celebrate. I just hope it's a time of great joy and peace for all of you. My wish for all of you is that you get at least one day in sweatpants on the couch and you enjoy some great meals, enjoy some great gifts, and just enjoy this amazing Main Street, this downtown here in Easton. Thank you all very much. All right. Good job, Andrew. Thank you.